Good morning. This is Mandy with Pulse Security Weekly, joining you from Las Vegas. And today we are very happy to welcome Matthias Vallentin from Tenzir. Matthias, welcome.
Thanks. Great to be on the show.
So glad you're here. Have you had a successful Black Hat experience so far?
So far, yeah, it's been pretty smooth, surprisingly. Great event,
Awesome.
very big this year. It's exciting.
Fantastic. Well, I know that you're here releasing a new product, you're launching a new tool, and that is what I'd really like to find out about. So, do you want to give a real quick summary?
Yeah, so basically the elevator pitch is Tenzir, we are bringing open source security data pipelines to market. And I'm happy to tell you more about that later, what
Yeah.
that actually means. But you can think of it as a mechanism to acquire, enrich, route security data, get it from A to B, and that's a primitive that's very important to accomplish things like building a security data lake and implementing a scalable detection and response architecture. So it's really a building block of what we also call the modern security data stack.
And from what I've reviewed, your platform is very customizable. But going into that, like what now drives such heavy use of data in cybersecurity operations?
So I think this is evolutionary across a lot of verticals. More and more digitization drives more and more data producers. The amount of data we at the other end then consume is just exponentially skyrocketing since years. This is unchanging. The tools we have built a decade ago, and in the past, a lot of the processing and the analytics happened in the SIEM. They have not been built for this data volume. They're basically collapsing under the load.
Yeah.
It's not economically feasible to build everything on top of the older tools, and so people are struggling with the sheer volume at the moment to accomplish meaningful things. And along with that, the threat landscape is evolving. Attackers get smarter, more access to more data. So there's always, we have to be smarter in our detections to find them, and that requires more data. So that's, I think, these are two in combination are the main drivers for the need to process more data.
Absolutely. And being able to use more data, and really, like what I'm hearing and what you're saying is trying to help people understand that the current architecture and the current way the infrastructure was done for cybersecurity operations will never catch up.
This is difficult. Yes, these legacy technologies, they're not built simply. They have been built for different use case for small amounts of data, and that's why we see people shifting basically their attention to more and more heavy-duty data tools, but that requires a lot of skills to customize this for the security workloads. So we always have this dichotomy between the data world, which they have a lot of horsepower in their tooling, but they lack the security-specific use cases, the ability to solve these problems that security has. And that transition from data to security, that requires a lot of data engineering. And that is not a skill that a lot of organizations have that come from a perspective where they need to solve security problems.
And so would you say then that that is the greatest challenge facing security teams currently?
Yes, security teams don't have data engineers like by default. That's usually a different skill, and so it's finding these data engineers that also understand security is even a rarer breed. So there's really a lack there because the current tools don't work very well, and building your own is something that's quite cost intensive. So there's really a gap right now in the market, and that's why we see a lot of people coming up with custom in-house solutions again. And so that's kind of that eye of the storm is right where we focus with our approach.
And does that go into, or will you explain a little bit more about SecDataOps?
So I think you mean SecDataOps.
SecDataOps, yes,
Yes,
correct.
SecDataOps is really an operating model. And I think that it's important to understand that this is not a market segment or something as new trying to kind of place itself next to well-established categories of tools, but it's rather a way to think about leveraging the data to build out security use cases from a data flow perspective, thinking of how do you get something done, for example, like implementing live threat detection with your own security content, and as a first level, and then the next level also taking that security content to apply it retroactively. And these like a very standard use case when you build out a part of a large enterprise SOC or an MSSP or an MDR. And if you start thinking from a data flow perspective, what data do I need to accomplish this, and where does the visibility data arrive, or how does it need to be processed, reshaped in order to get to the next steps that I can apply my own security content to it, my threat intelligence, my IOCs, my observables, whatever I have, my Sigma rules, maybe more elaborate contents, potentially even ML models, anything that for me, I use the term security content to summarize everything that I can deploy on the visibility event data that in the traditional world would just end up in the SIEM. And that's not right now, that's not where you can build advanced workflows. So there's basically SecDataOps is a way to think about this data as a pipeline, different individual steps from data acquisition, going from there to the next step, enriching, aggregating it, bringing it down, deduplicating it, maybe applying an event taxonomy like OCSF so that you can standardize downstream detection analytics from the data collection. So in the part that was something that SIEM owned, both the data acquisition and the analytics. Mm-hmm. And so I think that dependency is pretty strong, and security teams right now are looking to decouple this, to make it more modular, reusable, and that is something when you start looking at the data flows, that's where you can draw these lines and in the middle of the individual sequences in the data flow. And that then applying event taxonomization, event taxonomy, like ECS is pretty common, OCSF, and there's ASIM, there's dozens, I think, out there. And that's just one of many steps. Then the next step would be finding, when you have a custom tool, let's say you want to deploy a machine learning model, then, well, it needs to have the data in a certain way so that you can bring it there. So,
but if I may, in what you're explaining and the usefulness for the security teams, it sounds as though you're saying with the inundation of data that must be wrangled in order to have a successful threat hunting team and campaign, that what Tenzir is focusing on is not just a technology problem. Because part of what I'm hearing in the SecDataOps and the bringing in the data engineering side, that you're trying to boost the people who are tasked with aggregating all the data, sorting it, storing it, using it correctly. You're helping bring them into a developer, like more of a developer mindset, even if that's not what they came from.
Yes, I think that's really where the skills gap is. Security people are not data engineers. Mm-hmm. And security, they have the right ideas, like I want my data to be in this shape. Mm-hmm. But then executing on that is usually, that's when, when it's not the case, the data is not yet there, and that's rough, because then they have to start coding, start developing, and that's a very different skill set. We want the analysts to stay in their ability to think about the threats, express dependencies there from a data perspective at high level, mm-hmm. and quickly make these adjustments to the data as they need. And so that's really this, some call it midstream part in the data stack, that glue that holds it together when you have actually the data, you have the analytic, and you just want to make the two work together. So that basically operationalization of your detection is a big challenge, and that's what we solve with with this SecDataOps principle, by reducing the friction there.
Well, and it seems like not only reducing the friction, but also reducing the costs that are involved.
Ultimately, I think the ability to have processing outside of the SIEM is a huge opportunity to save costs. Like there's especially the volume-based pricing that still dominates.
Absolutely.
We have opportunity to bring out workloads from the SIEM and move them closer to the source, move them midstream. One example would be indicator matching. That's something. The data you have in the SIEM might actually just be a subset, first of all, because of cost reasons, but you may want to apply your IOC matching on the full scope. So there's not just a benefit in terms of cost savings, but you also get more breadth when you can run your IOCs on all types of events, security events. And so that's a very it's a simple use case, because it's just, say, a very dumb operation. It's just a lookup of a piece of data. It's not complex as a neural network or something.
But it's so composable. It's so, from what I have reviewed, it is very customizable. So it is very, for the security practitioner that recognizes they don't have the data engineering background inside, being able to take it and apply it with a very similar structure to using pipes in Linux, or using, having that plug and play availability as SecDataOps is bringing up. I feel like that's also empowering the security practitioners much more quickly and in a much more agile way.
Right, I think so.
Like
we haven't
future-proofing
you just mentioned the magic word, pipelines. I think that is really the way we express SecDataOps. So for us, those security data pipelines are the vehicle to implement your use case. And as you said, it's a very modular approach. Like a pipeline consists of a set of operators. Between operators flows the data. And if I can just take a module out there, like, for example, threat intelligence matching as one operator of the pipeline, it's like, quickly taking the things you want and being done. And there's not a lot of development or headbanging involved to get your data into the right shape. It's just there. It's a set of building blocks, and you can build larger use cases out of that. So that's our abstraction that we find fits very well, and security people understand it very well.
Absolutely. And in about 30 seconds, could you summarize about nodes in the data fabric?
Yeah, well, now you're fast forwarding basically. How do you deploy Tenzir? Tenzir.
What you want to know?
yes, that makes a lot of sense. So basically, in a Tenzir architecture, you deploy nodes. The nodes are hosts for pipelines, and you can span pipelines between nodes to create a data fabric. That's the essence.
Awesome. And the nodes being so flexible, I mean, that's just beautiful in my eyes. It is beautiful. Even I highly suggest reviewing the website and the blog posts. To anyone out there who is listening and considering using this tool, I definitely recommend the documents and everything that was on the website. So, real quick, will you recap for us? You're here launching a new product. What is it and who is it for?
Right. So we're launching Tenzir as our product.
Okay.
It's security data pipelines. We are open source company. That sets us apart.
Yes.
It is really for anybody who has a large SOC, builds an MDR, has an MSSP, wants to get security data from A to B, quickly operationalize it, get useful value out of it, ultimately, and then save costs on their existing tooling, get the SIEM costs under control. There's a lot of workloads you can get out there. And so that's, in a nutshell, where we're trying to enter into the market.
Fantastic, and a lot of great information for the decision makers. And I really like the idea of being able to future-proof security operations as data aggregation and every part of it continues to be a day in and day out consideration for security operations. Thank you, Matthias, for joining us very much.
pleasure to have that conversation with you. Thank you.
Thank you. And on behalf of Pulse Security Weekly and Security Weekly here in Las Vegas, I'm Mandy. Thank you.